This conference will now be recorded.
So first we'll have a quick round of introduction. So I just wanted to know your name and if you have any background with HL7 or healthcare, and what is it exactly that you're looking for as part of this training? Is it are you planning for certification or a job, or you know healthcare and you're looking to know technical how of HL7 and all? Uh, then we will start our training for today. So let's start with myself. I will start. So my name is Dixon, and I'll be the trainer for this entire course. And I'm working since 2010 in healthcare. So it's been almost 10 and a half years. And I worked on various interface engines like Mirth, Rhapsody, Connector, Integration Buddy, Ensemble, and so on. And I also worked on various applications like Allscripts and Mackeson, Allscripts, TouchWorks, and so on. And I also led a testing team, where we developed an integration engine so that it can be used for various customers. And I really enjoy training people, which is why I've been training online for the past 5 to 6 years. So that is all from mine. So let's go ahead and start with Anand first.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, I'm Anand. I am from Nepal, currently I'm here. I don't have much experience in with HL7, but I did work with one of the hospital in New Zealand, but I was more into development. Development.
Hey Anand, your voice is muffled a lot.
Um, okay. What about now? Is it better now?
Yeah, better. Yeah, could you repeat what you said? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay. So I'm currently working in Melbourne. I don't have much experience with HL7, although I did work um, for a
Hmm.
hospital in New Zealand for 1.5 year, where I was more into development. Integration wise, they've trained me in Rhapsody. Yeah,
Hmm.
there I just had a little bit of introduction to HL7 and maps creation and everything, but basically I don't have much knowledge HL7. So currently I am also working in healthcare. This is more of a design at an architect level role, but I would be
Hmm.
doing some interface developments as well. So yeah, so I just want to know. Well, I would like to learn, probably from scratch. Yeah. So
Hmm. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Anand. Uh, Next we'll go to Ashina Vinod.
Hi Dixon, am I audible?
Yeah, Ashina.
Hi. Yep. I'm
Hi.
Ashina. I'm from Mumbai. Right now I'm
Hmm.
working in an IT healthcare company, eClinical Works in Mumbai, with an experience of 4 years and 6 months. Having working in this particular domain, I want to get exposure to different interface engine, starting with Mirth Connect.
Okay. Okay. So you already know about integration HL7.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we will go to Shalini.
Hi, I'm Shalini. I'm from Cincinnati. I'm an Epic analyst. Worked on lab module implementation here in the States. Um, I want to gain more knowledge on interfaces, DI, and Mirth Connect. I believe this is my first step.
Okay. So you have experience with HL7?
Yes, I used to analyze errors and all, but I don't know complete in and out of it.
Oh, okay. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Shruti.
Yeah, hi. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Shruti.
Yeah. So my name is Shruti, and I'm currently in California completing my master's in healthcare administration. I do have experience in healthcare, that is revenue cycle management, from Mumbai 4 years. And currently I'm working as a healthcare data analyst, and I'm doing my internship. So during this phase, we work with a lot of healthcare and hospital settings for integration for LIMS or any kind of EHR data. So I'm looking forward to learn HL7 for the integration.
Sure. So, did you come across with working with HL7 during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that technically sound in HL7, but I do know because there are few clients which we do send some of the fields or some of the patient demographics or other information datas via HL7. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of these segments and what type of segments do they want and how we send, but
Mm-hmm.
I need to get a deep understanding of it.
Got it. Sure. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sumisha.
thank you.
Thanks for joining. Oh, Shruti, sorry. Next, let's go to Sumisha.
Yeah, hi everybody. Hi Dixon. Well,
Hey.
Sumisha here. I have kind of varied experience. I'm from India, Hyderabad. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I worked in Deloitte in the US healthcare process in the claims management system, but it has been quite a while. I had a little career gap. I was
Mm-hmm.
into different fields in between. So actually, I worked from 2005 to 2010 in Deloitte in US healthcare management. So wherein we used to take care of these claims, how we can send the claims for insurance companies and all. So I also
Mm-hmm.
worked in the technique in the backend maintenance with the data, like how we used to get the data from the client and then how we can put that in a system and then get that processed. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm very new to HL7. Just yesterday, I heard from one of my friends about this, and then I thought, okay, let me try because I was trying to work on JavaScript and Python recently, and then he suggested that this might be a good option for you to
Mm-hmm.
integrate. So that's the reason I'm here. I'm very new to this. Right now, actually, I'm in the teaching field, but
Mm-hmm.
teaching coding to students. Yeah.
Okay.
But I
Okay. So,
wanted to, know more
mhm.
and then maybe try in this field in future.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
Sumisha, you are in India, Hyderabad.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you have exposure to X12. So during your process of processing the claims, did you come across
Uh,
X12 messaging standard?
Not exactly. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sure. No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sumisha. All right.
Sure.
Thanks
Thanks,
everyone
Dixon.
for introducing yourself. So I'll just start with what are we going to cover through the training and what we'll be covering for today. So the entire training is divided into two sections. I hope you guys have already gone through the course curriculum, but I'll brief it. So the first half of the training will be completely functional, which means we'll be taking a look at HL7. We'll be seeing from the basics of where HL7 started, how it all got started, and we'll be looking at the architecture of a messaging structure, what are the segments, what are fields and all. And we'll then uh, jump into deeper part of it to see what are the different message types that we have. And we'll be seeing what are the various messaging types that are used as part of the entire hospital workflow. So today we will be seeing the basics of it, where what is hospital workflow, what are the different message types that we'll be covering as part of the training. And then once HL7 is done, so as part of certification, there are a few other things that you need to understand, get deeper understanding of data types as well. So we'll be covering data types too as part of HL7 training. So once HL7 is done, the second part is all technical, where we'll be covering few things about networking, which is much needed for transacting HL7 messages. So having an understanding of networking is necessary. So we'll be having a session on networking, and then we will start looking at Mirth Connect. So Mirth Connect is an interface engine, or you can say it as a tool which is used to go ahead and integrate HL7 messages with other systems, or in order to generate HL7 messages and send to different systems, or receive them and interpret them and write them to the database, or do whatever you want to do with the HL7 messages. Basically manipulate the data the way you want it using JavaScript and also some other technologies like E4X, XML, and so on. So we'll be looking at starting from the basics of that application. We'll have a complete navigation through the application workflow so that you can understand what are the most critical options that we have as part of the application while configuring it. And then we'll be slowly getting deeper and deeper into the application. So it would be in a page where first we'll have a broad understanding of the application workflow, and then we will slowly narrow down to the core technical parts of the application. Then finally, we will see how to develop real-time interfaces, practical approaches of how do we develop an interface. We'll have 3-4 case studies, which will be going through to see how to extract data from database and construct a complete HL7 message in various scenarios, meaning how to create a single segment, how to create an HL7 messages with multiple segments of same kind, and also we'll see how to interpret an HL7 message and write it to the database, and we'll be seeing what are the different connectivity types that we can use using Mirth Connect. So then finally we'll have last 2-3 sessions will be focused on how do you complete your certification, what are the things that you have to go through in order to attempt for certification, and how to prepare for that. And we'll also be seeing at what are the other standards of healthcare. HL7 is one of the messaging standard, and there are many other different standards like CCD, IHE, and FHIR. So we'll be taking an overall bird's eye view so that you know that there are other standards as well. HL7 is not the only thing that we have in the HL7 messaging world. So there are other standards too, so that you guys can get an idea of that. So that will be the entire curriculum or entire part of the training. So this will be for 4 to 5 weeks. We'll have a 5-day week, and every day 1 hour, 7 o'clock in the morning, Indian time. And we have people from US, Australia. So I'm not sure what the time there right now is, but yeah, this is the time when we'll be meeting every day. And it will be from Tuesday to Saturday, 7 a.m. IST. Someone has a question? Hey, Anand, yeah.
And I was just telling it's afternoon. Probably it's like for India and US, it will be bedtime and morning and night, but Australia it's afternoon. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's 11:30, 11:45, I guess, for you, right?
12:45.
12:45. 12:45. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'll talk to you after. Yeah, thanks.
sure. All right, so we will start up. So as we have mix of people who know HL7 and we have few people who do not know, we'll start from the basics. So in today's session, we'll be covering on introduction to HL7. So by the end of this session, we will see where do we hear this term HL7, and what is hospital workflow. And within hospital workflow, what is HL7? Why do we need HL7? And how the name has been arrived, how HL7 name has been given. Then we will see what is an interface, what is the role of HL7 in terms of an interface, and we'll also see what is interoperability. Finally, we will look at basic structure of HL7 message so that you can get a basic idea of how a message is constructed or how a message is formed. So we'll see the messaging rules of how the construction happens. So, few general terms we need to understand because we'll be using these terms rigorously all through the training. So these are few acronyms so that you get an idea of what these acronyms are, so that we'll be referring these acronyms going forward. So PM is Practice Management System, or you can also call it as PMS, Practice Management System, which is basically an application used to manage the entire practice in terms of administration. So this is an application which is usually used by the front-end staff, receptionists, to create patients or manage doctors' calendar for scheduling an appointment and so on. Next, you have electronic health record. So electronic health record is an clinical management application, which means this is used by doctors and nurses or the clinical staff to manage entire patient's clinical data. So the difference between PM and EHR is PM is, as I said, is used for administration purpose, and whereas EHR is used for clinical management. So entire patient's clinical data will be residing in the EHR application. So these are two different applications. One quick note is that we are talking, so I mentioned it as two different applications, but it is not always necessary that we should have two different applications. At times you will have both the modules in single application. For example, if you take Epic or Cerner, they have the both PM and EHR within single application, but as different modules. And we have situations like Allscripts who have PM as a different application, EHR as a different application. So it is up to the convenience of the hospital what they want to acquire, what they want to use. So we'll be seeing both the scenarios in real time world. Next, HIS. So the combined system is usually called as HIS, Hospital Information System, which will have everything in it. It will have PM, it will have EHR, it will have lab modules separately. So that is called as an HIS. And then you have LIS, which is Lab Information System. So this LIS is nothing but a module which is completely related to lab, either from lab side or an in-house lab of the hospital. Anything is called as an LIS, where entire lab management happens and entire lab related events are captured within that lab application. Then ICD. ICD is nothing but International Classification of Diseases. This is nothing but a library, you can say. So this library will have list of all the diseases that are there in the world, and each and every disease is uniquely identified with the help of a code. We call it as an ICD code. So we'll be using these codes in order to refer any disease or any diagnosis that the doctor performs on the patient. So they will conclude and represent it with the help of the code, which is part of this particular library. Similarly, you also have CPT, which is current procedural terminology. These are nothing but the procedure codes, which means after diagnosing a patient, usually doctor performs certain procedure or prescribes certain treatment, right? So those treatments are represented with the help of these CPT codes. So there are many things that would fall as part of CPT codes. You will have lab related codes, you have treatment related codes, you will have operation related codes, you will have many other different kinds of codes as part of CPT. Then CCD is nothing but continuity of care document. So this is another standard within HL7 industry, HL7 world. Apart from using HL7, you can also use CCDs in order to transact data between different systems. So we'll be focusing more on CCDs at the end of the training. I'll tell you, what a CCD is, how does it look. We'll quickly take a look at structure for 5 to 10 minutes on how CCD is formed and all. Then HI is Health Information Exchange. You might be hearing this term nowadays a lot, but this has been there since long. But these days we are developing HIs more, or we are integrating with HIs more. HI is Health Information Exchange. Basically, it is a central repository, you can say, which will connect multiple hospitals interconnected with each other and help exchanging data between different hospitals. So that is an HI. So we'll be talking more about HIE as well. In the last 2-3 sessions, we'll be seeing how HIE is formed, what is the core principles of forming an HIE, and what are the different standards that are used to exchange data with HIE. So CCD is one of the standard that we use as part of HIE transactions or HIE implementations. Then IHE is also is called Integrating Health Enterprise. So these are also messaging standards. All the last three are used in concatenation with each other, IHE, HIE, and CCD. So these three are used to exchange data between all different hospitals and all. So we'll be talking about that as well in the last two sessions. So next we'll jump on to the basics. So we all know what is the workflow at the hospital, but we'll quickly cover that because during our training, this hospital workflow will act as a blueprint. We'll be referring back to this hospital workflow many times to understand how data is transacted between different systems because this is the basic from where our HL7 arises, and um, always understanding the functional aspects of the technical things that we are going to learn uh, will help you to go ahead and explore more or understand things better. So that's the good part of healthcare, especially when you come to healthcare. You need to know the functional aspects in order to get in order to become strong technically. So let's go through the basics of this hospital workflow. As I said, we will refer it back many a times during the training. So we all know that patient walks in and he walks into the front desk or the receptionist, and they will go ahead and ask the patient whether he's been there or is it the first time that he is coming, and they will capture the patient details if he's coming for the first time. So they will take patient name, date of birth, gender, and if SSN, or if Aadhaar card, or whatever the unique ID number that is provided by the government will be taken. And they will also ask the patient whether they have insurance or if they have any guarantor. All of that information is captured, and it is basically stored in the PM application, the application that I talked about in the first slide. So once the data is captured, these basic details are called as demographics, and they will flow over to the provider system, which is EHR system, which is electronic health record. So this basic demographics will flow from PM to EHR through an interface if there are two different modules. So we'll be talking more about interface down the line, but basically the data will be moving from PM to EHR. Then once the patient details are captured, a receptionist will go ahead and ask the patient, what are you going to, who are you going to meet, who do you want to meet, or what appointment you are here for. Patient will give certain name of the doctor, certain department and all. They will schedule an appointment for the doctor. And once they do that, the appointments will also flow over from the PM system to the EHR system. So finally, basically, whenever the patient arrives, either it is ER or ER in the sense emergency department or outpatient or inpatient, whoever it is, appointment is scheduled, which will take the data or which will make the data flow from PM system to EHR system. Now the doctor will go ahead and log into the EHR to see what all appointments he has for that day, and he will start working on the patient. He will have various statuses of the appointments in the front end in the application that he is seeing, which is EHR, and he will start documenting. He or his assistants, nurse assistants, or clinical staff will start documenting all the details of the patient, all the clinical data. Now, when the patient arrives and meets the doctor, it is usually referred to as an encounter. That is a term that we use when they physically meet and talk to each other to discuss about the problem. We refer to as encounter. So whenever I say encounter, uh, that is what I mean during the training. And we have many other alternate terms called as appointments or visits. So you'll be frequently seeing interchanging of these terms, encounter, appointment, and visits. So just all refer to one thing. Technically, there are few differences based on the system that we are using, but basically they all refer to one single thing. So we'll be talking more about that down the line. So patient will meet the doctor, doctor will discuss about the problem and they will try to diagnose. In case if they are unable to conclude it right away, then doctor will have to place an order or will just basically ask the patient to get few tests done. It could be blood report, or it could be some other CT scan or MRI or whatever. So they will place an order, and this test related information will be sent as an order to the lab system. The lab system, people will go ahead and receive the order, and then once the patient arrives at the lab people will go ahead and take the samples or perform the test and send the results back to the HR system. So message will, I mean, the data will flow back from lab system to the HR system, and doctor will go ahead and review that, review the results that he received, and accordingly they will prescribe the patients with certain treatment, and will give the medicine or will take next actions from there. So once the patient concludes, once the patient is done with all of these things, patient will leave the hospital, and all the charges related to labs and provider related charges, appointment, for example, appointment related charges, or if there are any special procedures that are performed with the patient during his 1 day care within the hospital, or whatever charges they are, all the charges will flow back from all of these entities, labs, providers, and all. It will flow back from them to the receptionist desk, which is nothing but the PM system. Or they can also be sent to another system called as billing system. So which is a different workflow aspect altogether, which we'll be talking about more about when we talk about charge related messages. But basically the charges will flow back to some or the other administration system where all the charges are consolidated, and a claim will be sent over to the insurance company if patient has insurance. Else patient will be asked to pay the amount if they don't have any insurance. So that's how the hospital workflow, that's how the patient's life cycle will be concluded within hospital. So this is the basic workflow which we all are aware of, and we will see now how HL7 plays a role and what is the role of HL7 in in all of these transactions that are taking place. So let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and quickly talk about one example before we jumping on to understand what is HL7. So let's take an example of 2 or 3 different people from different countries. Let's say one guy from US and the other one from India and the other guy is from China. So if these 3 people have to communicate with each other, let's assume that they know their own regional languages. They don't know some international standard or international language. Now, if the Indian guy has to talk to Chinese guy, obviously either the Indian guy has to learn Chinese or the Chinese guy has to learn Hindi in order to communicate with each other. And similarly, if the Indian guy has to talk with a US fellow, he has to go out and learn English, or the US guy has to learn Hindi. Either way, they will be able to communicate with each other. And if all the 3 have to talk to with each other, either they have to be a translator for one of them, or they have to learn all the 3 languages. 3 of them should be aware of all the 3 languages so that they can talk with each other and communicate with each other. Learning one language is fine, but what if we have 10 different people from 10 different countries where we have to interact with each one of them? We should end up in learning each and every language. So in today's world, we see that that has been a major problem, and we have one standard language, English, as a common medium of communication between all the different parts of the world. So now, when English is the common medium of communication, these people do not need to know or do not need to learn the regional languages. They just need to know English, and they'll be able to communicate with each other because the other person who is on the other end also knows English. So now, whatever regional language we are part of, it doesn't matter because we know one common standard. So knowing that common standard or common medium language will help communicating between different parts of the world or different people from different countries. So HL7 also works on something very similar principle. Um, so in the example that we have seen, it's not that if they want to communicate in regional languages, if they can learn, they can learn and they can communicate. For example, Indian guy can learn Chinese and talk to the Chinese guy in Chinese language. But having that English as a common standard will definitely give them an edge where they don't need to learn Chinese language. They can directly communicate in English, which is a common standard. So HL7 also works on similar principle, very similar principle. When we talk about an application, each and every application will have a front end and a back end. Okay, whatever you are seeing on your system is called as front end, the application where you enter the data and all is the application. Apparently, application is not something which can store your data. Data has to be stored physically somewhere, right? So data is stored in the backend system called as database. So every application has front end and a backend. Okay, backend will always store the data. So the design of the backend entirely depends on the application that you are using. It will keep on changing with each and every application. For example, if you're talking about practice management, it has its own data repository or database where it stores the entire patient information. If it receives 100 patient information, it will go ahead and store all the data in that database. And the architecture of that particular database would be designed as per the practice management application. Next, we have electronic health record. So electronic health record, again, it's a different application, so it will have its own database. And the design of the database is designed as per EHR. So now when there is a need for the data to be exchanged between these two systems, the integration engineer, whoever is trying to send data from PM to the EHR system, has to have complete knowledge about the PM database or whoever the integration engines are. If there are different integration engineers on the PM system and the HR system, they should have complete idea about each of these applications database architectures so that they can extract data from PM system. For example, a patient is registered, we need to extract data like patient's name, date of birth, gender, SSN, and address and all, and send it to the EHR system. And EHR system, send it to the EHR system in the sense they have to know deeper understandings of EHR's architecture so that they can insert the data into the exact location or exact table of the database where it is needed. So this is a very tedious process, connecting one-on-one or sending data from one application to another application. If it is just one application, then I think it will take 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, or a year for implementing that interface. So the engineer will go ahead and get a deeper understanding of his own database, which he already has, and he will also get a deeper understanding of other databases uh, of the EHR side, and he will try to integrate with that particular system. So this is a time-taking process, tedious process, understanding new architecture and all. And similarly is the case with integrating with other applications as well. If it is just one application, that's okay. But again, if it is multiple applications that we are trying to integrate with or trying to send the data to, then it becomes really, really heavy and really hectic. So there was no common medium or there was no common language to transact the data between these different systems, which was resolved by HL7. So HL7 has been emerged as a common medium of communication or common medium of messaging standard, like the English language, um, so that it can bridge the gap and it can be used as a common messaging standard and can be understood by each and everyone, or basically each and every application. So what happens if you have HL7? So if there is HL7 in the middle, then when we extract data from database, we translate it into HL7 and we send it over to the destination system. Now, as HL7 is a common messaging standard which should be understood, which can be understood and which should be understood by all the applications, they will go ahead and receive that HL7 message. They will interpret it because they already know HL7. Now they don't need to know what is the backend architecture of the PM system. For example, we have an integration engineer on the EHR side. He will receive that HL7 message. He is not bothered about what is the architecture of the PM database. He's just bothered about HL7. And he will interpret that HL7. He will decode the data that is there in HL7, and he will insert the data into the database wherever he has to insert. Now, this has given an edge because all the participants who are trying to integrate with each other should know HL7. And as they know HL7, they don't need to know about the architecture of the databases on the either side. And they can interpret HL7 and insert the data into the database on their own end. So now if the practice management has to integrate with EHR, they just need to generate HL7 message and send it to EHR. If lab also wants to receive that data, they can also send that to lab, or they can also send to n number of applications who are down the line, whoever wants to receive the demographic information based on the need. So all of them should need to understand HL7. So they will, obviously, because if they are a healthcare player, they will understand HL7 related messaging standard, and they will interpret that and they will insert the data into database. So that is how HL7 has solved this problem of having a common medium of messaging standard between different systems. I refer to it as language. It is not a language actually. Just for our understanding, I just mention it as a language, but it is a messaging standard or a messaging structure which we'll be using to exchange data between different applications. So I'll pause here for a while. Any questions? All right, I'm not hearing anything. So let's jump on to the next topic, which is to understand what is an interface. So now I have told you that messages will flow from one system to another, and we see that transactions are happening between between different systems and so on. But how they are happening? They are happening usually through an interface. So interface is just the term which is given to represent a bridge between two different applications, or you can say that it is a tunnel which is connecting two different applications. So HL7 messages are transacted through this tunnel or through these interfaces, which is why we call them as HL7 interface. So an HL7 interface, whoever is working on HL7 interfaces, they are called as interface analyst or integration analyst or integration developer or interface developer and so on. So apparently with HL7 in place, we are actually connecting an application to application. So we are not bothered about what is the backend of the databases. So it could be an SQL database on one side, and it could be a flat file database on the other side, or a NoSQL database on the other side, or whatever it is. We are not bothered about it because HL7 messages are generated between these two different systems. So you will understand more on how databases are not interconnected with each other down the line once we explore more on integration engine. But we'll take a look at that later. Apparently, an interface is nothing but a bridge which is actually connecting two different applications and will enable data exchange between these two different applications through HL7. Next, we will see brief on what we have seen. So, an HL7 is developed back in 1987. So it has it has emerged as a standard in 1987, and it is actually enabling healthcare applications to integrate with each other and exchange data between different applications and also organizations. And then, as I said, it is just the term that is used. How did we end up in using HL7 as a term? I'll tell you in a while. Basically, it is derived from OSI model. We'll be seeing about OSI model in the next slide. And there are many countries who are using HL7. For a few countries, it is new, but in the US, it is there from very long. But other countries like India, Australia, Dubai, all the Emirates, and South Africa, all of these countries have started using HL7. The way I knew is we have participants from all around the world. We have people joining from Ireland, South Africa, and Australia, and various parts of the world. So that is how I got to know entire world. I started using HL7 in the recent past. So earlier we used to have people mostly from US, but now we are seeing that we have people from different parts of the world joining in to learn HL7 more and more. So use of HL7 is increasing day by day, and we have many different countries who are using it. So now we will try to understand how did we end up in having this name HL7? Why is the name HL7 given? So HL7 means health level 7. So each of this term has their own significance. So health is to represent healthcare, level 7 is to represent levels is to represent the layers, and 7 is to represent the seventh layer. So we'll talk about those layers. I'll give you a quick brief on that. Actually, if you want to explore more and understand what is an OSI model, you can go ahead and just do a quick wiki. You can understand that, but I'll give you a brief. OSI is nothing but operating open system interconnect, where you are actually using that technology to exchange data between, or to see, or to move the data from one place to another place. Not like HL7. We'll talk more about HL7 later, but when we talk about OSI, now I am presenting this screen. You are seeing the screen that I am presenting in your system, in your application, or whatever system you are logged in from, right? How that is happening, how something that is present on my system is being shown on your system. Apparently what is happening is, there are 7 layers behind the application that I am showing. I'm displaying my PowerPoint, right? Behind PowerPoint there are 6 more layers, okay, which we are not seeing. These are virtual. So all of these layers play a major role in converting the data that I am displaying into different packets, small physical packets. And these physical packets will finally transact through my Ethernet cable, and these are traveling all through the Ethernet cables that are connected to different parts of the world. And finally, when you receive it on your system, you will receive it on the physical layer, and they will be reverted back, and that will be shown as a presentation in your application. So it is two-way system, where from my application it will be transacted, and through a physical wire it will be sent to you. On your system you will be receiving it on the physical layer, and finally it will show it up on your application. That is how the actual internet world works. That is how the data is being moved from one system to another. So when we deal with HL7, we are actually dealing, or we are actually playing with HL7 in the 7th layer, which is the application layer. Okay, so which is why we use that level 7 concept of level 7, and as it is healthcare data that we are dealing with, or healthcare related aspect that we are dealing with, we named it as HL7. That is how we ended up in having this term, or this name, HL7. Next, we will see an overview of how HL7 looks like. So like any other language, as I said, I use this term just for our understanding, but it is a messaging standard. So like any other language, HL7 has its own grammar and syntax. So we'll be focusing more about that in the next slide. Maybe in the next 2 slides, we'll see what is the grammar of HL7. And the most famous version that you will be seeing out there is version 2.3. It has 12 chapters and 5 appendices. So it's not that we don't have other versions. We'll be taking a look at version history in a while, but yes, 2.3 is the most famous one, and there are more than 50 data types across all the different versions, and there are more than 80 message types. So we'll be focusing more on message types in a while, and we'll be seeing about data types down the line during the training. There are more than 86 event types. So if you don't understand message types and event types, don't worry, we will be talking more about that tomorrow. So if you look at the version history, 2.3 has emerged in 1997 as a standard. HL7 itself has started back in 1980s, but a standard version 2.3 is released in 1997, which is considered as a solid documented standard. which can be used by hospitals as a effective standard from then on. And then we had various releases till the point of 3. So we have 2.3, 2.4, 5, 8, and 3 as well. So many people ask me, are we using 3 a lot, or HL7 version 3 is not implemented much? If you're as part of healthcare, you know that version 3 is not used much. So there are many reasons why people are not using HL7 3 and HL7 version 3 and still using HL7 version 2. So one of the main reasons is version 3 has emerged as a standard for, and it has changed the entire structure of HL7 message on how HL7 messages are constructed. And changing to the new standard did not add any new value to the hospital. For example, I have a hospital from last 10 years and I've been using HL7 to transact the data between different systems from past 5 or 7 years. And now, if for example today in 2020 HL7 V3 has released, I'll definitely think of what value would it add for me to go ahead and move to version 3 or change to version 3 for all the transactions that I've been doing from the past few years. Actually, as a provider or as a hospital administrator, I did not see any new value being added. And upon that, I need to spend a lot of money to go ahead and convert from version 2 to version 3 because it is like a new standard altogether which changed the entire messaging structure. It's not that the existing structure is updated, it's a complete change from version 2 to version 3, which is why it was not very much welcomed by the industry. And you will see very few implementations on version 3. I have little introduction to version 3 through CCDs and all and the RIM model, but version 3 is not very much welcomed by or used by many hospitals. Only a handful of hospitals use it, and apart from that, most of the other people you'll be seeing usage of version 2 itself. Even in other countries, they are using only version 2, preferring to use only version 2, not version 3. Next, we have Fire. So most people ask me if HL7 is Fire, HL7 will replace, Fire will replace HL7. So Fire is the new baby into this standard world. It has emerged in 2015 it started back in 2010 itself, 2010, 2011, during that time frame, but has been emerged as a standard in 2015 with proper documentation and all. So to quickly answer whether it can replace Fire, replace HL7 and other CCD standards, yes, it has the capability, but how soon? Not in the very near future, because Fire itself as a standard is evolving, and it takes a lot of time for it to become stable. We see that Fire is being rapidly used these days, which is very good thing, but replacing the existing standards will take a lot of time. And definitely the point of adding a value comes into play if they have to use Fire. Obviously, someone would think of it twice because I'm already using HL7 from years together and the actual necessity is being fulfilled. Why would I need to move to a different standard? That question will still need to be answered. Unless Fire is adding more and more value, hospitals wouldn't move to Fire. So at least for next 10 years, I am not seeing replacement of HL7 with Fire. And the purpose of Fire is different, but it has the capabilities of replacing them. It's up to the practices or up to the hospitals whether they want to use it or not. But yeah, that's small introduction on Fire. We'll be seeing more about Fire down the line in the last two sessions, as I said. What is Fire and what is that standard? But just to answer and cover uh, whether it will replace or not in the near future. So next we will see what are the advantages of HL7. So it will help you to share the medical data, billing data, demographic data between different systems. Data transfer is always in the form of messages. And there are no special tools required except for one application, one tool that you can use. And code is in the ASCII format, which means it is human readable. If you know HL7, you can understand what message is being transacted. It's not like some encrypted data. It's just that a messaging standard which can be understood by anyone if they see or if they deeply look at the message. Even if they don't know, just by looking at the terms they can understand, but they may not understand the structuring of it. So it can work on any OS. As we are working on an application layer, I told you that with the OSI, we are dealing with an application layer related message. Application layer, we are playing at the application layer. So it is not dependent on any operating system. It can work on any operating system. And it can connect from any system to any system. That is the whole purpose of having having HL7 messaging standard. And it will give a lot of access to the overseas market because it will help you to connect in different states, data as part of different states, and interconnect the different hospitals and so on. So why do we need this as a standard? So implementing a one-to-one interface will take a lot of time. For example, if it takes 1 year for two applications to integrate with each other, HL7 can do it in a month. So that's great deal of cut down in time, and there is a lot of ease in implementing that. This is why we definitely need a standard. So this standard, if it is there, it will help us to complete interfaces quickly. Second thing, it will help us to share data, and sharing the data will enable us to have quicker insurance claims. And then interoperability, which is nothing but apps can talk to each other. Interoperability means one application can talk with other application just by exchanging data between these two different systems. And greater safety for the patient, obviously. Patient history is always there, electronically stored, and can be accessed at any given point of time. And upon all of this, quality is maintained a lot. So let's quickly take a look at how HL7 messaging works. So now we'll refer back to the hospital workflow. So when we talked about hospital workflow, I told you that patient walks in and talks to the receptionist, and receptionist will ask for all of his patient details, and they will register the patient. So entire hospital workflow is divided into multiple chunks of events. Now patient is getting registered in the front end staff with the front end staff. So that entire physical aspect that is taking place where they are talking to each other and exchanging this data or capturing this data, where receptionist capturing this data, is called one event. So that is called as a registration event. Similarly, once the registration is done, then patient will talk about appointment. Now they are discussing about a different aspect altogether. So appointment is another event. In this way, entire hospital is divided into hospital workflow, not hospital workflow that we have seen in the first two slides have been divided into different chunks of events. Registration is one event, appointment is one event, patient meeting the doctor is one event, and doctor placing an order for the patient is another event, and receiving the results is another event. So in this way, all of these are events. As soon as one event is concluded, the data with respect to that event should flow from one system to another system. For example, as soon as the registration is done, PM system should send that registration related details to the EHR system so that doctor can know what is the name of the patient. Unless doctor knows that there is a patient, there is an appointment, doctor will not be able to understand who is coming next, right? So it is essential that registration related information should flow to the EHR system. Appointment related information should flow from PM system to EHR system, right? So registration is one event which is actually generating the necessity for that data to go. Appointment is another event. Lab order management is another event. So in this way, HL7 work on this basic principle of the fact that there are events taking place in the real-time world, and these events are actually generating the necessity for data to flow from one system to another. It could be from PM to EHR, EHR to lab, PM to insurance company, or EHR to PM system. It could be in any way, but two systems are involved. One will be the sender, other will be the receiver, and the need of data to flow from the sender to receiver is always in place, and it is based purely on the fact that an event is taking place in the real-time world. So these events which are generating the necessity for data flow from one system to another are called as trigger events. So HL7's basic principle is a trigger event. HL7 works completely based on these trigger events that are happening in the real-time world. So we have examples, many examples like observations, patient registrations, appointments, claims, everything jots down to the same point of trigger event. So that's the basic principle of HL7 messaging. So as I said, we'll have many events that will be taking place: registration, appointments, labs, charges, pharmacies, insurances, and so on. So we'll be focusing on these four sections through our training. Pharmacies and insurances are handled through a different standard. Insurances are handled through X12. Pharmacies are handled through e-prescription messaging system. So that's a different thing altogether. It's not related to HL7. Our focus is mainly on HL7 related events. So we'll be seeing all these four. Next, we'll quickly take a look at the anatomy of the message, which is nothing but understanding the message structure. So now we know that now we have spoken a lot about HL7 messaging standard, where it is used, how it is formed, and what is the basic principle of HL7, how it is, what is the basic principle, which is nothing but the trigger event. Now we will see the physical structure of HL7 message. So before that, let's quickly take a look at an example as a paradigm, you can say, or as a example to understand the structure better. Let's say we have two different people in the house, and and let's say there is a rack, and the rack has three different shelves. Each shelf is dedicated for certain things. And in the first shelf you have clothes, second shelf has books, third shelf has books. And the first shelf is again divided into different compartments. Each compartment is dedicated for t-shirts, trousers, and shirts, and so on. Now, when one of the guys is leaving the house, let's say he's going to some other town and he left the house. After going halfway, he realized that he did not take his t-shirt or something. Now he calls the other guy who is at home, and he tells him that, can you get me the t-shirt? The second guy will go ahead and access the rack. He will get the t-shirt and he will go and give it to him, or he does whatever. But the main point here that I'm trying to highlight is the communication that happened. When the first guy who is outside the house, he called the second guy and told him, please get me the t-shirt. But he did not tell him where to get the t-shirt from. He did not tell him which t-shirt, or he might have told him which t-shirt, but he did not tell him where exactly that is there. But the second guy knew that t-shirt is present in first rack, first compartment. I mean the rack, first shelf, first compartment. So HL7 works on that very basic principle. Now, when there is a power outage at your house, what is the first thing that you do? I mean, in these days we have mobiles, so we quickly turn on the torch. But what do we do if you don't have mobiles? Well, even if it is dark, even if we are unable to see anything, we'll navigate to one place in the house and get the candle and light it up, right? How? Because we know that that is a dedicated location for the candle. Similarly, keys, when we place keys at house, we know that always we have keys in certain location. Similarly, even in this example, everyone at house know that first shelf, first compartment will always have t-shirts, second compartment will have trousers, and so on. HL7 works on very similar principle. For each and every data piece that we are going to see, or that we are going to capture, there is dedicated placeholder for each and every database within HL7 message. So we will explore more on that, but we'll first understand the broader picture of it. So if you look at an HL7 message, it will have similar structure what we have seen in the previous slide. Each message, HL7 message, will have a segment, and each segment will have a field. Each field is again divided into components, and each component is again divided into subcomponents. So if you look at if you see the pictorial representation, it will be something like this. Each HL7 message will have multiple segments, Segments are divided into fields, and fields are again divided into components, and components are divided into subcomponents. Forget about components and subcomponents for now. We will look at that with an example when we look at an HL7 message. But for now, understand that HL7 message has a tree kind of structure, and from root it is going to branch more and more. Okay, so message has a number of segments. Segments are again divided into fields. Fields are again divided into components and subcomponents and so on. So before looking at a sample HL7 message and understanding its structure as part of segments and fields, we need to understand the basic syntax or basic grammar of HL7. I would call it as a grammar. In order to understand English language, first you need to know alphabets, and next you need to know what are the grammatical syntaxes that we use as part of English language. We should know what is comma, what is full stop, what is a space, and other exclamation marks and so on. We have many other symbols in English, right? So similarly, HL7 as a messaging standard has its own grammatical syntax. So let's go ahead and look at it, and we can compare it. The funny part is we can compare it to English language. Most of the things we can compare it to English language and get a better understanding of it if you are very new to HL7. So first one is segment terminator. Segment terminator is nothing but kind of a full stop, which will say that this is the end of the segment. Okay, so usually we represent it with the help of carriage return. So carriage return is a standard representation in programming world, which tells the system that this is the end of the sentence. In HL7, it is the end of the segment. So after completing one segment, you will have carriage return for sure, so that the system can understand that a new segment is going to start. Okay. Next, we have field separator. Field separator can be compared to the spaces. It is actually separating each word from one another. So from our previous example, each compartment can be represented as a field, which will hold different kinds of data. So what it holds we'll see later, but basically each segment is divided into different compartments, and these compartments are called as fields. Next we have component separator. So this is kind of separating the field into two different components. Okay, so we'll also look at this with an example, but the symbol is important. We use a caret symbol in order to separate two different components within one single field. So there is one field. If you have two different components within that field, then you will have a component separator. Next, you have subcomponent separator represented with the help of ampersand. So if the component is again divided into two different subcomponents, then we'll be using this. Repetition separator, this is an inverted S, we call it as tilde, and this is used to separate two repetitions. I'll explain this with an example as well. Escape sequence or escape character is nothing but to escape certain sequence of the sequence within the HL7 message. We will see that also with an example. The main things that we need to understand to read HL7 is our first three: carriage return, field separator, and component separator. At the most, at least we need to initially understand carriage return and field separator. So we will take a look at an example to understand it better now. So this is an HL7 message, how an HL7 message will look like. So each HL7 message has different segments is what I said. So this is an entire HL7 message, and each of these have different segments. I have separated them so that you can clearly identify that this is one segment, this is second segment, third segment, fourth segment, and fifth segment. Okay, so each segment has its own name. So in our example, we have seen that each rack has, within the rack, each shelf has its own name. In the same way, each segment has its own name. First three letters will always represent what that segment is all about. So this is an message segment, which means it is message segment header. This is PID segment, which is patient identification segment. So most of the times the segment name itself will tell you what kind of data that segment is gonna have. So example, PID segment. Within PID, it means it is a patient identification segment. So in order to identify some person, what do we need to know? We at least need to know their name. right? But for a system to understand more, system needs more amount of data. So system needs to know what is his gender, what is his date of birth, and so on. So all of that information, which will actually identify the patient, is transacted through the PID segment. So this is the PID segment that we have. So let me take this to a notepad and we will understand what is pipe and all. All right. So we are looking at an HL7 sample. So this is our PID segment. So I will separate this from the entire message so that we can just focus on that one. Okay. So now, as I said, the first 3 letters will tell you what is the name of the segment. And then you can see that we have this symbol. This is called as pipe. Okay. And these pipes are used for separating one field from another. So this is one field, this is one field, this is one field, this is one field which is empty, this is one field, and so on. So in this way, entire HL7 message has segments, and within segments you have these field separators separating one field from one another. So this is like a wall between each and every compartment within a shelf, and each shelf is dedicated for one certain data piece. Now, in our example, we have seen that first compartment, shelf 1, and the first compartment is there for storing t-shirts. Second compartment is for trousers. Third compartment uh, is for shirts, right? In the same way, in HL7, each and every field is dedicated for certain data piece. For example, here we are seeing the name of the patient. This is field. This is one of the fields which is dedicated for name, and you should only send name in that particular field. You cannot send anything else. Now, how do you know which compartment is this? So usually we number the compartments, or we number the fields. So this is field number 1, this is field number 2, right? There is no other pipe between them. So this is field number 2, this is field number 3, this is field number 4, this is field number 5. So field number 5 in PID segment, field number 5 is always dedicated for name. Okay, you cannot have anything else. You cannot store, or you cannot send uh, date of birth, or you cannot send whatever you like. It is decided by HL7 that PID 5 is for patient name, and you should always send patient name within that field. Next you have PID 7, which is for date of birth, and this is field number 8 for sending your gender, and then PID 11 for sending your address, and so on. So we have dedicated placeholders for each and every data piece that we are dealing with in the front end. So when you are registering a patient, you take patient name, patient date of birth, patient gender, his SSN, his address, phone number, and his race and ethnicity details, whether he is alive or not, and there are a lot of other information that you will capture, right? All of those details have detailed placeholders within HL7 messages, and these placeholders are usually present in the form of fields. Okay, so if I want to navigate through an HL7 message, and if I want to tell that I am sending name in the HL7 message, I'll tell that in PID segment, field number 5, I am sending the patient name. Okay, and in PID 7, I am sending date of birth. So that is how I go ahead and navigate through it. What all fields we have for what all kind of data, that is what we are going to take a deeper look in our future sessions. But this session is limited to understand the structure of HL7 message, right? So this is how the segments and fields are divided. You will also see components. We'll be talking about components tomorrow. We'll see what is a component, how we can understand a component and all. We'll start with that tomorrow. But the basic structure is segments and fields. So any HL7 message you take, this will be the structure, and each HL7 message will have its own segments, and each segment will have its own fields where the data is shattered in a systematic manner into separate fields. Okay, and yeah, that is the basic structure of any HL7 message that you take. Next, we will take a look at the summary. All right, so how you can train in HL7? You can study yourself, or you can attend seminars or webinars like this, and you need to read up all the chapters if you want to be certified. So I'll be focusing more about certification in the last session. Certification is done by HL7 organization only. No other body has the rights to go ahead and give certification. So exams will be held regularly all over the world. You can go ahead and attend it anytime. You can attend it and you can get your certification. And who can train in HL7? So basics has to be understood by programmers, doctors, project managers, IT administrators, and so on. At intermediate level, definitely programmers need to know in depth at intermediate level, and doctors and paramedics and IT administrators. And also, if it is to be experts with that certification, then definitely programmers can vouch for it. Not required, not necessary, not essential. 85% people who are working in HL7 are not certified. It is not essential that you have to be certified, but in few countries like US, if you have certification, you'll have an extra edge. But in India, I mean, it's not much needed. Certification is not much needed. They will look more at experience on how well you know about HL7. And healthcare domain experts can also get the certification if they want to grow more in their IT domain within the hospital culture. So to summarize today's session, we know that HL7 is mandatory for interoperability. Without that, we cannot achieve interoperability. That definitely, if two application has to talk to with each other, that is through HL7. And then, as I said, it is an unescapable standard that has to be used in order to exchange events. And definitely, more and more business, more and more market is available. So I think you guys are already learning HL7. I think that's a very good thing. So we'll conclude today's session here. Any questions from today's session or anything with related to the training that you are going to have?
Nothing from my side, Dixon.
Thank you, Ashina.
I have
Hi, Dixon.
I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Shruti. Well, actually, I have a very background, as I said. I did my MSc Computers. I was into US healthcare for a while, but right now I am not. But I mean, can I take, am I eligible to, I mean, go ahead and then take this HL7 and then make my career in this or not is my question.
Yeah, absolutely. See, we have people
Is there
from
any
different
minimum
background.
requirement? Okay, yeah.
Nothing as such. So from in our training, I cover everything from zero. So even if you don't have any prior knowledge, you will, if you can learn, then you will get all that you need to become an HL7 analyst. So we have people from different backgrounds who join our training. We have people from pharmacy background, and we have people from non IT backgrounds, and from different manufacturing industry people as well who joined HL7 training, and they're working today on HL7. So it's not mandatory. As you're already from computers, I think it will be even more easier for you.
Okay. And how is the scope of job availability in India
In India,
for
in
this
India,
HL7?
Yeah, in India, 10 years ago it was very less, but now slowly it is growing. I think it will grow a lot in India because Indian hospitals are acquiring HL7 slowly. We have Apollo hospitals, we have Continental, we have AIMS who are actually started using HL7. So we'll have a lot of future in India for HL7 or other messaging standards, all the other messaging standards, in fact.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the answer, Dixon.
No problem. Yeah, Shruti, you have a question?
Uh, yeah, actually, so are we gonna get a recording of this session because I have a class tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
so I might have to leave early. So I mean, I don't want to miss the important
Sure.
section or
Sure.
part.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So everyday session is recorded because we understand that we have people from all over the world who might not be able to join at the very same time. So as soon as the class is done, within 2 or 3 hours, as soon as we get the processed recording from GoToMeeting, we just upload that onto the drive and we share it with all the participants who have joined and who have subscribed for the training. So you will get that. Even if you miss the session, you can quickly go through the session. If you have any questions, we create a WhatsApp group, uh, or basically now it would be Telegram or Signal, whatever it is. We'll be creating a group and we'll be sharing. We can share our knowledge or ask your questions if you have any. You can either ping me through group or ping me individually. So we'll have that uh, healthy communication for asking questions and answering them.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Is the tomorrow one is also going to have a demo or
Anand, I am unable to hear you. Your
so?
voice is muffled a lot.
I'm sorry. Is it better now? Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
The tomorrow session is also going to be as part of demo or it's just today.
Tomorrow also you can join, not a problem. But from third session, if you would like to continue, then you have to subscribe for the training.
Okay. Yeah. So
You
yeah.
have to
Thanks.
enroll for it. Yep.
That's yeah. The other thing, the same thing. The person asked, just regarding the recording sessions.
Mhm.
Sometimes, especially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be yeah. So yeah. Thank
Um,
Dixon, so Nisha here again. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so I really want this video, but I don't
Sure.
know. I didn't get a very good clarity on where you're going to upload this and how we can access. And then, can you also tell us about how about from third session, more details about um,
Yeah. Sure, sure. This
for third
video is
session?
on, I mean, the first session is all is on YouTube as well. So you can just type HL7 SV trainings and you can check the first HL7 session 1. So it is open to all. You can go ahead and hear that. Or if you are subscribing for the training, there will be a Google Drive where we upload daily recordings. Okay. So I'll quickly show that. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
So this is how we go ahead and share it with everyone. So daily recordings will be given day wise and date will also be mentioned there. So you can go ahead and access any day's recording and go through it whenever you have time. And we also share all the documents that are related that we go through as part of the training. I'll be sharing them as well. You can go through that too.
What's the duration of the course?
4 to 5 weeks. So it depends on the practicals that we are going through. So if there are many questions during the practical sessions, which is usually the case, so it will be from 24 to 28 sessions is what we usually see it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So any other questions? Someone asked me, sorry. So from third session, what was your question? Was that Ashina who asked from third session?
It's me only, Sunisha.
Yeah.
I only asked like what is the further process from third session.
Okay. So if you are willing to go ahead and enroll for the training, you can contact Srinivas. So you can, all of you can drop your email address and phone numbers onto the chat. Srinivas will go ahead and contact you guys, or you can contact Srinivas to get enrolled in these in this session.
Okay.
All right. So any other questions from anyone? All right. All right then. So we will. Yeah,
Sorry.
Anand, you have a question?
Yeah. Just regarding Mirth software and
Mhm.
other pages, do we need a licensed version of that, or how can we get that? Is there a free version, or
Mirth is an open source free software, so we don't need any license. So we can install that on our system and we can work on that.
and database practice like SQL would be enough, right? The free version.
Yeah, SQL will be using Express Edition, which is also free. So we can install that and we can use it. All right. So okay. So Sri Portluri and Sumisha, you guys can stay back and rest. If you don't have any questions, you can just drop your email address and phone number, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Thank you everyone for joining today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone. Hi, Sri. Are you there?
Hi, Dixon. This is
Hi, Sri.
Basava
How are you?
Portal. In fact, this is my wife's computer, so her name projected.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Your good name?
My name is Kishore Potluri.
Okay, Kishore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah.
This is
So
I live in
usually,
California.
okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Basically, I'm a doctor.
Uh-huh.
I'm a pediatrician back home in India, and but I don't have a license here. And we are right now we are citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some main experience in the SQL developing as well as a database administration.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer this hospital sort of work. And how is the job market in US? And is there anybody who can take care of all the placements?
For in the US, HL7 market is a lot
Mhm.
because entire data transmission in the US in most of the hospitals are using HL7 today.
Mhm.
One of the main reason is because of Obama healthcare, where he
Mhm.
has introduced the meaningful use and forced, I wouldn't say forced, but he reformed and made sure that entire, even
Mhm.
smallest of the clinic should use electronic data.
Okay.
So scope of getting a job in HL7 is way high than compared to other countries in the US.
Mhm.
And and there is no question that we might not get a job in the US if you prepare well. That is there for sure. And what was your other question? Sorry.
So, I mean, we are right now in an entry level, right? Usually they
Right.
ask for experience, and somebody
Hmm.
must be there to place us.
Okay.
So, any placing agency or something in US?
Hmm. So, uh, so usually, as you said, they will ask for experience for sure. But once we complete our training, if you practice well, you can say that you have worked on it in your previous experience some or the other time. With Because the level of uh, depth that we get into, at least it will give you experience of 2 to 3 years. That is how we train. So if you practice all the concepts that we are going through the training, you can definitely say that as part of your job in the earlier career, you have definitely worked on HL7 and you can definitely portray that and then crack the job.
So, I mean, is there any alternative for HL7 in the medical hospital system for the central
No,
base? It is the
no, not.
only one, HL7.
Yeah, yeah. So fire is the new standard that has been evolved.
Yeah,
But as I said, it cannot replace. I'm not sure when, at what time you joined, but I just told that fire can replace HL7, but not in the near future. Maybe 7 to 10 years down the line, it may, provided the provided the hospitals plan to move on. So until and unless there is additional value moving to fire, people may not move. That is what I'm seeing.
and this is an open source, right? I mean, there is no free. Is it free or any license fees or anything is there? And you told us some SQL Express is also required to be installed.
Right.
These are the two
Everything, I
ones,
mean, yes, yes, SQL Express Edition is free, Mirth is free,
right?
so we don't need to pay for any tool or something.
Yeah, but I'm more concerned about the placement in US because I couldn't find out. I tried, but
Hmm.
I mean, even I spoke to Srinivas. He told me somebody's there in California,
Hmm.
but I couldn't get any information about him.
Okay, if you're talking about placements, yeah, I mean, we can help you to get in touch with a consultancy,
Mm-hmm.
but but preparing and they might help you in forwarding your profile and getting opportunities for you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but we don't provide any, I mean, assurance that you will get a job for sure. Okay, we can give you a contact who can help you, and you
Okay.
can deal with them from there on.
Mm-hmm.
They will help you, but that is not something that we promise that for sure you'll get a job or something. But any question at any given point of time which will help you to prepare for interview, we are there.
So and one more thing, is it used in the clinics, hospital clinics, outpatient or inpatient, and large hospital, anything like that? Or,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Even in
mm,
outpatient clinics, they do use it.
mm,
For example, outpatient clinics, we give a lot of immunizations, right?
mm.
Immunization related data has to be transacted to state registry. So
Okay.
all of that immunization data will travel through HL7 only. So that will
Oh,
be sent to HL7 through HL7 to state registry.
mm,
So it is everywhere. Basically, when you talk about electronic health data in US,
mm,
you will definitely, I mean, most of the people may not know that
mm,
this is happening at the back end, but
mm.
apparently this is there.
And it deals with the medical, any need of learning medical coding or anything like billing or anything, does it include in this?
To become an interface analyst, no.
Mm,
Little bit functional knowledge is required, but not in depth of what
mm,
codes, which
mm,
kind of codes for what transaction. No.
mm,
That is dedicated for
mm,
if you are a claims analyst, then that is when you have to know all of these things. If you are part of RCM, revenue cycle management, then you need to know billable codes and all of those things. But as an interface analyst, as an interface developer, not needed.
and is it going to be a remote job or on-site job or?
That depends on organization that you're choosing.
Oh,
So in the US, if you're in the US, then I mean, scope of getting remote job is high. But
mm,
if you're working out of US, then scope of getting work from home is very, very low.
oh,
But again, for example, if you're working for federal,
mm,
then you have to go to office. There is no other go. And if you're working for big hospitals like George Washington or some other place, they will give you work from home. So it
But
depends on the organization, completely up to them.
security clearance or something like that, right?
For work from home, they will give their own system, so which will be completely encrypted, and because it is patient data, so they won't take their chances. So they will follow all the security measures. They will give their own laptop and their own devices to ensure that security is not breached.
Are there any flaws or anything in the communication system in the the HL7, or do you face anything like that, or is it 100% correct?
So usually, see, that doesn't fall under the umbrella of HL7. So these flaws that you're saying, that will fall under cybersecurity. So it will fall under networking related security aspects, because when we are transacting HL7 data, it is just HL7 data which can be interpreted by anyone. As I said, if you understand, if you look at the message for a while, you will understand what data we are talking about. Even if you are not aware of HL7 message, if you look at the screen now, just by looking at it, you can figure out what is what. But when we are transacting this data over the network, we make sure that VPN is in place, or we make sure that we use, if we are using web services, we use secure certificates, and only the parties who have the certificates can exchange data between them. So all those network related security measures are taken care. And in spite of that, if we have any breach, then that is up to the cybersecurity team or IT security team, whoever has to make sure that security is in place, but nothing with respect to HL7. And if it if there is anything,
any language to be learned, then anything like Java,
you
jQuery.
need to know basic stuff of SQL, and JavaScript. I will train on basics of JavaScript. So we have 2 sessions on JavaScript so that you can know how JavaScript is used.
All right. Thank you, Dixon.
Sure, no problem. Anytime.
Just drop me in the email if you know anybody, the placement agency years.
Sure,
So
sure. You can drop your email address and phone number, and or you can contact Srinivas. Srinivas will provide you the details.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Sumisha, you can stay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you said you have some questions, right? So
Yeah, Dixon. Okay. So where are you training us from?
myself, I am from Hyderabad.
Okay, okay. So you are mostly into training nowadays?
Yeah, I'm training since 5 to 7 years now. But if you're asking, I'm working somewhere else. Yes, I'm working too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dixon. So I don't have much clarity about this because yesterday itself. So actually, I'm working in the teaching field